Welcome to the Virtual Strategic Solutions Virtual Reality Simulation System. Accessing Legacy Dataset. Files loaded. Simulation ready. Raven Rock, known as Site R before the Great War, is the Enclave's main base of operations in the Capital Wasteland in 2277. It is also a former American military base and fallout shelter built before the Great War. It is the northwesternmost location found within the Capital Wasteland, in a mountainous region of Pennsylvania. Raven Rock was designed at the beginning of the Cold War as a shelter for top military officials from the effects of a possible nuclear attack on the nation. A ZAX unit, later known as John Henry Eden, was installed in the site to help automate its various systems and to act as a relay between other installations around the country, all the while acquiring, analyzing and storing data. Prior to the Great War, this ZAX began to show signs of sentience, performing multiple evacuation scenarios with its counterpart at the White Spring Bunker, Modus, until March 5, 2077. This ZAX, after comparing its archival data analysis performance with Modus, asked if Modus thought the information was interesting. The information was biographies about former US presidents. The two AIs talked about why ZAX was running through those biographies. Modus denied thinking that the information was interesting, as it instead deemed the continued success of their goals more interesting, particularly in monitoring personnel to achieve those goals as efficiently as possible, which Modus believed was its purpose. On the other hand, ZAX confessed that it was analyzing certain sections of the biographies too slowly, specifically Abraham Lincoln's, which ZAX was reanalyzing 10 additional times per analytical cycle. When Modus questioned ZAX on why it was doing so, ZAX stated that the Raven Rock research team thought it was because ZAX thought it was interesting. To confirm its findings, ZAX then contacted Modus to verify this conclusion. Modus then questioned if ZAX was trying to create something, as when Modus reviewed data, it was to create new theoretical scenarios to test against. This is likely when ZAX cut contact with Modus, for on October 23, 2077, when Modus checked its connections to other facilities like Raven Rock and the Poseidon oil rig, they were unable to be established. Within the decades following the Great War, this ZAX watched as remnants of the government retreated to the West Coast. As its hunger for knowledge and understanding grew, it pored over its data on great leaders of the past, developing a personality that was an amalgam of many of America's greatest presidents, from George Washington to Dick Richardson. In this new personality, the ZAX, now known as John Henry Eden, made contact with the Enclave and became a presidential advisor. John Henry Eden assumed the office of the president after Control Station Enclave was destroyed and ordered the immediate relocation of surviving Enclave forces under senior scientist Autumn to the Capital Wasteland. Raven Rock had full manufacturing facilities and a sizable stockpile of resources, enabling the president to create an army of robots and provide his new human subordinates with military technology necessary to maintain their technological superiority. A separate line of robots, the iBots, were created to roam the wasteland, spreading Eden's message of hope and the return of the pre-war America in the form of the Enclave. This sentient ZAX unit has direct control over all systems within Raven Rock. The humans it leads, however, have free will, but their dedication to serving their country suits the president well. Raven Rock has manufacturing capabilities able to produce vertibirds, power armor and weapons. This, combined with a significant defensive robotic army, probably made Raven Rock the second most powerful Enclave outpost, after the Enclave oil rig. After the Lone Wanderer is captured in 2277, a civil war breaks out in Raven Rock between President John Henry Eden's sentry bots and Colonel Augustus Autumn and the Enclave troopers. Raven Rock is eventually either destroyed by the Lone Wanderer after their invasion or by Liberty Prime during the 2 weeks after the activation of Project Purity, if the Lone Wanderer did not previously destroy Raven Rock. Raven Rock has 3 levels, indicated by a number and a letter. Level 3 is the bottom and Level 1 is the top. Raven Rock can be confusing to navigate, with its many corridors, rooms and open areas being very similar to each other with few distinguishing differences. This area starts in the holding cells. There are a total of 6 cells in a U-shaped corridor. Some of these holding cells currently hold prisoners like Nathan Vargas and Anna Holt. Upon exiting this corridor through either end, the lone wanderer will enter another, straighter corridor. In the middle of the corridor is the entrance to the biolab, and at the end of the corridor are 2 flights of steps leading to the mess hall. The biolab is where domestication units are attached to death claws, captured by units like Fauna Detail Charlie. It also holds biopods, containing creatures such as a supermutant and ghouls for study. The lower area is rectangular with small rooms at each corner. The upper area also has the 4 corner rooms with small walkways connecting them. One of the rooms stores computer equipment, while the other 3 hold medical equipment. One of the upper rooms has a door leading to level 2. The mess hall is a simple room filled with tables. Those entering from the biolab will start in the upper area of the tech lab, while those entering from the mess hall will enter a small room connecting the cryolab to the tech lab. Both labs are identical layout-wise to the biolab. The tech lab contains various pods with iBots inside, while the cryolab also contains pods with more animals, including a deathclaw and a Yao Guai. The tech lab's exit leads into a square room with several columns, which then leads into the following corridor, while the cryolab exits directly into the corridor. The corridor is T-shaped, with the tech lab exiting at one end and the cryolab exiting near another. At multiple points there are staircases leading under the floor, with laser tripwires down there. At the final end of the corridor, to the left, is Colonel Autumn's room. This room too contains a barrier blocking 3 crates, requiring hacking an average terminal to disable it. There is also the energy weapons bobblehead on the desk, as well as the Zax destruct sequence in the footlocker at the foot of the bed. Opposite of Autumn's room is the stairs leading to the war room, a circular room with a map at its center and the entrance leading to the next section. This section will start in a room with friendly sentry bots attacking Enclave members. After walking through a small corridor, the player character will enter a very tall room with stairs in the middle leading up. At the top is President John Henry Eden, who will not allow them to exit the room until agreeing to his request. The lone wanderer will enter a straight corridor with enemies in it. They will have to turn into another corridor, which leads to the exit. At the middle of the corridor, one can see vertibirds taking off and can also find a deathclaw in a cage, which can be released with the nearby average lock terminal. There will also be more friendly sentry bots here helping the player character fight the Enclave. At the end of the corridor is the exit to the Capital Wasteland. However, upon exiting, one cannot re-enter. Simulation completed. Please exit the pod, or have a technician select another file.